the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I've been for a walk on a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA. California dreaming on such a winter's day. Stopped into a church. I pass along.
Hey, welcome to episode 74. Actually, it's 34, but
34?
is it? Who knows? Does anybody even know?
Does anybody care?
No.
You should care about this one, though, because we're recording this in a little intro after the main interview because, you know, we're too... Well, fuck, I'll just say we're too lazy to just intertwine and like do the post-production part of intertwining the things seamlessly. So
It's
we're just,
so much easier to stitch together two separate clips than it is to cut one clip and stitch it.
it's kind of our thing here. You know, we're just raw and uncut and
And
we're just
extremely low tech.
Are we going to add this video part into the intro for the YouTube part? I don't know. We're just two dudes
Yeah,
who
we
love
have
Philly
to.
sports and beer and shooting the shit.
Well,
So
for me, it's water right now
that sucks for you.
until I can get down to the lobby
As,
block.
as you'll hear later in the main part of the episode, Dave had a flight to LA today from where'd you take off at Limerick?
From Limerick, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, through no fault of his own. One of us had to be sober, I guess. Anyway, so get to the point, guys. So in this episode, we talked to Chad Einbinder, who, holy shit, this guy was awesome. Like, he's a legit like Hollywood comedy writer, producer. He does it all. As you'll hear in the episode, we saw him through a viral clip that aired after the Super Bowl 52 when he was caught in the streets with his daughter by the local. He lived in LA. A local TV news crew caught him and his daughter celebrating Super Bowl 52 in the streets, and it went viral about a year ago. And we were like, "Holy shit, that guy is fucking! We gotta get him on."
Yep.
So, and here we are. We did. So he came on and he told us. He told us a lot of great Philly stories. He told us about his friends who have been unfortunate victims of the wildfires in LA, and what we can do to help them rebuild. Because as you'll hear, not everyone who lives in LA is rich and can afford to just rebuild after a devastating event. So I guess that's really all the introductory information you need. So like I said, we're recording this after the interview, so I'm a little toasty here. I was very nervous for this one. So
Yeah, Matt needed a little liquid courage.
Yeah. And dude, we shot the shit with this guy for. Is that the past tense of shoot the shit? Shot the shit. Shot the shit. Had the shit.
Make a shit.
Yeah, we made a shit with this guy. Oh God.
I think it's shot the shit.
Shot the shit. Well, whatever.
I don't know. If anybody knows the correct terminology, let us know.
Yeah. If the shoot the shit police are listening, whatever. I'm sorry, Einbinders that are listening.
Right.
But yeah, so Chad Einbinder came on. He talked to us about his Philly fandom and his friends who have lost pretty much everything: their business, their home. As we'll say in the episode, we'll say it again because it's worth noting in case you miss it. The link to their GoFundMe is in our bio on Instagram at Birds and Beers. We'll promote. We'll put on our story. We'll do what we can to help these people out because, as you'll hear in the episode, Chad talks about how great people they are, how they spread love and wellness to others, and they just deserve our help. Um,
Yeah. So
I don't really know what else to say. You'll hear in the episode. So
yeah, with
listen
that,
on.
just check it out. Enjoy.
Yeah. Here's our conversation with Chad Einbinder. All right. So we're here with Chad Einbinder. He is I actually want to preface this by saying that I have no background in doing interviews. My brother and I, Dave, we started this podcast about a year and a half ago just to shoot the shit and talk about, something we're nerdy about. So forgive me if I get some shit wrong, but we're here with Chad Einbinder. He is a comedy writer, a producer, actor. He's been on shows, CSI, Third Rock from the Sun, which I saw which I was pretty excited about because I loved that show when it was on.
Yeah.
But was your name
Back
Rico?
in the
Right?
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3
So,
seasons.
but I mean, I might be biased here, but my favorite thing of it on his resume is Eagles fan. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Diehard birds from day one. We were just talking in the pre-interview. My father started in Vet Stadium when it opened with season tickets under the 300 level overhang. And out in the backyard, I actually have seats from Vet Stadium. You know, that guy that sells the stadium seats. So I bought the seats with the same number of my dad's.
nice.
Tore down the Vet. But then he got grandfathered over into the Link, and those tickets are still in my family. Now 2 generations. My father's tickets. We always talk about it that way. Like, who's going with my father's tickets this weekend? Well, I'm stuck in California. So, but it's great. My brother-in-law, Eddie Haas, and my nephew, MJ, they were at all last 3 games, just tearing it up. Like, Mike, I mean, you guys have seen all the footage of, not only what happened on Broad Street, but some of the tailgate and fanatics. It's just, I mean, it breaks my heart that I'm not there.
Yeah. Yeah, one of our great uncle Billy, he used to have he's had season tickets with my grandfather, so from like 1961 until he still goes to the games. But when Dave and I were younger, we used to get his tickets, but he couldn't go. But now his grandkids are old enough to go. We don't get them
It's a
anymore.
fight.
We don't get to as many games as we used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were wishing we were down there too.
Like the lore of the Vet Stadium, like sometimes now on the internet, people know these things, but some people don't, that they invented the drunk court, right? So the Eagles fans were so just off the hook rowdy that they would get arrested and they'd have to take them downtown to book them. And the cops are like, why are we wasting all this time? So they put a magistrate in the cellar at Vet Stadium on literally a folding table and a chair. They take them down, literally cite them, get them convicted, give them a summons, and send them home. Invented in Philadelphia.
It goes further than that because then Judge Seamus McCaffrey,
Oh yeah,
he became a member of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court years later. So. And then he had to resign in a scandal known as Porngate. So you can Google that one for anyone who doesn't know.
I'll have to check that out.
If that's not the most Philly thing ever.
Did you guys catch some of the video of the Broad Street? Like,
oh yeah.
My favorite was before the game was shopping cart pig roast guy.
I just saw that today.
That was pretty impressive.
He showed up in so many pictures. First he was on the subway, and then he's running.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Yeah,
subway. I was like, no way.
Only in Philly.
Only in Philly.
We did an episode about a year ago titled "Only in Philly," talking about all the lore from all the crazy shit that's happened here.
Oh man,
it's so much shit has happened that we figured we could probably do one every single year and not repeat anything.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, and, you're wearing my love, the Flyers. I mean, even as equal as the Eagles. Like, I grew up, like, my dream as a kid was to be a professional hockey player. My idol Dave Schultz, most penalty minutes. That's what I aspired to be. And my cousin Mike Swerdloff, was actually at the game when they won the Cup, 73, first expansion team to win the Stanley Cup. And on the God Bless the Flyers, the Kate Smith album, you guys know that, the famous singer, right? So there's a picture somewhere in the album or in the jacket of everybody on the ice, and my cousin is on the ice. You can see him in the picture.
No way, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's so cool.
He was at the game.
My dad. Yeah, our dad grew up in that era, so that was his thing too back in the day.
Oh yeah. How many Flyers can you guys name from those days? Do you remember any of those guys?
Well, yeah, growing up here, my dad talking about them, and Dave
Yeah.
Schultz, Bobby Clark, who, the GM of the team, when I was coming up,
Yeah.
um,
Jimmy Joe
uh,
Watson,
Bernie Perrant.
Bernie Perrant, Ed
That's
Van
about
Hant, Old Man
yeah,
Ed.
yeah. That's about as far as it goes for me. But
I could still name pretty much that entire, Oris Kinderchuck, Don Selesky, Bill Barber. Like there's
oh
guys,
yeah,
just dreamed about being a Flyer. That's all I ever wanted.
oh yeah. You and our dad would get along very well.
Your dad still with us?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. How old's your dad?
He is what 60. He just had a birthday a couple days ago.
Yeah,
68.
just turned 68.
God bless. That's awesome.
Yeah. We call him the fever dream because that's pretty much what it's like. You wouldn't believe the guy's real if you didn't know if you didn't know it for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, my love of Philly is, look, I'm a Californian. I was raised out here. My folks split when I was a kid, but because of the wisdom of my family, I was sent back to Philly every summer to deal with the bugs in Jersey, and every winter to shovel my father's driveway. That was my childhood, like being a work release prisoner sent back to Philly so I could be with my dad. But the brainwashing of the love of Eagles. I was never a Rams fan. I was never into any of the LA teams because it was all about, connecting with my dad. So my Philly roots are, all my family's still back there except for my immediate family. The humans that I've grown myself are out here, but the rest of my family's in Philly.
That's you said it perfectly because it's not just people wonder people my friends that I have who aren't really into sports or whatever like it's just a game what yeah but it's more than that it's spending Sundays with your family and cooking meals and having something to bond over it's like Ray Didinger put it the best if it's like forgetting the Philly sports would be like taking your family photo album or whatever and throwing it out for the trash
Yeah,
man to pick up and like it's it's a vehicle for us to grow as a family, as friends, and everything else.
totally. I mean, early on, I take my dog because I had two kids, and I would take them back. They were like 5 and 7, and I had, there was a guy with security, during the Andy Reid days, Butch Pachonico.
Oh yeah.
Butch Pachonico, and I had to connect in the Eagles front office, so I would fly in with my kids to go, sit in my father's seats, and then we'd get a couple other people that would like let us bum their tickets for that day, because the Callies were coming to town, and I'd take my kids, and I have pictures. Our greeting card for the holidays was my little kids in full Eagles regalia standing on the floor of Vet Stadium by the bench. Like that was like how crazy the brainwashing went for the next generation of my kids.
Yep. Butch, for anybody who doesn't know, used to be when Rendell was the mayor. Butch was his like official security man when he was still
Oh,
with the Philadelphia
I'd forgotten
PD.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
those guys. You ever read A Prayer for the City?
No, I haven't read that.
Friday Night Lights. Buzz Bissinger.
Yeah, Buzz, I know.
He followed Rendell around for his first term, and there's a lot of great stories in there. I think Butch is in a few of them. These guys got in a little bit of trouble together back in the day.
The Philly contingent out here. One of the things like we tailgated at the Rams game last season when the Eagles came here at SoFi, and it's the classic thing anywhere in the country because of the Green Legion that flies fans around. So besides that, in LA, there are so many Philadelphia transplants and Philadelphia Eagles fans, even if they don't originate from Philly, that we outnumber. You go to a Dodgers game when the Phillies play, we outnumber them. And we stay. We don't care about the traffic. We stay till the last inning. It's the same thing with the Eagles. You look around at SoFi and it's the Eagles fans doing all the cheering, all the
I love those games.
It's crazy the amount of loyalty and the travelability of the Eagles fans. It's awe-inspiring.
Yeah, I've gotten to know. Are you familiar with the Swoop City LA guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten to know a few of those guys through doing this, like just from afar over like social media and stuff. But it looks like a lot of great times. But I love those SoFi games. They always look so great on TV with all the green in the stands.
Yeah.
And the sunsets there are great.
Now, I want to give first. I want to ask you guys, where are you going to be for the Super Bowl? Are you guys going to be together? Are you flying? Like, what's your deal?
As of right now, I'm off that day, so I'm hoping it stays that way. So I plan
Nice.
on partying pretty
Keep
hard.
telling him, put it in your boss's head that he wants to go to New Orleans, and but
Perfect.
yeah, I'm not going to count on that. But
Yeah, me either.
yes, we'll probably be at Dave's house. Dave is a pretty good cook, so I'm the hype man and he's the food man. So
Oh, nice, nice. But you guys will most likely, barring any work schedules, be together
Yep.
at a home, right? At one of your homes. That's great.
Yeah, definitely.
it's how we watched the last 3 Super Bowls that we're in, right?
Nice.
So hopefully this one will have a better outcome. Anyway,
We are going to be where my daughter, one of my daughters, is doing quite well these days, and she's trying to wrangle us tickets to the Super Bowl. Actually,
Oh shit.
the problem is that she works in TV as well. She has an early call time Monday morning, so she can't show up just wrecked. Like that would not go well with production. But and it's about a 10 a.m. call. So if we can figure out how to get her back safely, so that the entire production doesn't have to shut down because she went to see the Birds beat Kansas City. There's like a 20% chance we'll go to the game, but if not, in LA there are various Eagles bars that are just solely Eagles sponsored, right? And one of them is this one in Santa Monica, California, which is between Venice, beach communities between Venice and Malibu. Santa Monica. It's not as famous as Malibu, but it's pretty infamous. It's called the Britannia. And it's owned by a couple of Brits. It's an English pub that for some reason about a decade ago decided that their NFL team would be the Eagles. And I think it had to do with Princess Di and the infamous, her wearing the jacket and her being a fan of the Eagles. So, because I got a picture of her on the wall wearing the jacket. But that's where we were for the last Super Bowl, last two, actually. The one we won and the one that we didn't get the win. And that's where we're going to be, it sounds like. I'm going to wait. I'm going to go out there at like 6 a.m. to get in line to get a lanyard so that I've got a guaranteed seat for me and my daughter.
nice.
And yeah, that's probably where we're going to be in there with just a bunch of the Britannia. It's pretty cool. If you're ever out here on a Sunday, especially Dave, if you're out here,
I'm here till Monday.
See the game. What's that?
Said I'm here till Monday. I should just stop by.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
It's a great bar. It's a great bar. Great. The owners are great. The food's actually amazing, for LA bar food, But that's probably where we're going to watch the game as they take on Kansas City.
Nice.
How long has that been there?
God, the Britannia pub has been there at least 20 years.
Okay.
I think these owners have had it almost that long. And I think for about 10 solid years, it's been an Eagles bar. At least 10 years.
So I was stationed out there at 29 Palms for a little bit, and
right on.
We used to spend some times in LA, and wish I would have known about the place then, because
where
29 Palms.
No, but where was the place you would spend some time?
Oh, the Britannia. Wish I would have known that was there at the time.
Oh yeah. There's the Cowboy Bar in East Hollywood area. That's an Eagles bar. There used to be a place called Philly Bar West on Westwood Boulevard that the guy, you would get the Amoroso rolls. He'd have them FedExed out, frozen, and then he'd heat them up in his own. And he was a cheesesteak guy, like from Philly, transplant. So you learn where to find what you need to survive, from tasty cakes to hoagies, right?
Oh yeah. I was feeling pretty homesick. I was there for a while because it was like a height of the Iraq War. So, there was a lot of backlog for training and stuff. And I was there for a while, and I was getting homesick. So I had my mom send me a case of tasty cakes. Oh, nice. And I opened them up, and I was the only guy from the Philly area there. And like they were gone in minutes. All my friends were obsessed with them. Like for the next couple of weeks, they're like, "When's your mom sending more tasty cakes?"
That's good. Butterscotch crimpets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The peanut butter candy cakes were mine.
Peanut butter candy cakes for sure.
All right, so you wanted to talk about your fundraiser?
Yeah, and guys, I appreciate this so much. We, as everybody probably knows nationwide, that we just went through these insane wildfires. And look, I'm not a finger pointer. I don't know what's causing all this. In my book, there's nobody to blame. It's just an entire. Are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Fuck no.
It's just a huge shit sandwich, and we all had to take a bite. The Palisades is, I mean, as a veteran, I could use some war reference, but I think that's just not appropriate. It's just it looks like the face of the moon. Let's just go with that. And where I live in a place called Topanga Canyon, which is as famous musically, I live in the shadow of the Hendrix house, a house that Jimi Hendrix owned right up until his death. And, this whole area was big in the 60s in the music scene. I can't even tell you, you name somebody from the 60s into the 70s, from the Eagles, they all lived up here at one point or another. And this area was hit pretty hard between the Palisades and Malibu. And everyone's like, oh, these $1 million homes, But these were people that lived there 40, 50 years. Some of these people, they weren't necessarily millionaires or billionaires. Like a lot of these people, it was family. Their mom and dad bought it in the late 60s when you could afford stuff like that. And they've just been devastated. In my area, there's a couple that when we moved into this area, immediately opened their arms to us, the Hilfmans, Greg and Cindi. And I mean, look, we all know a lot of people, we've all traveled, we've all met a lot of really great people, both home and abroad. These are two of the finest people I have ever known. I am just honored to call them my friend. They are the most helpful, most loving. Greg, who's a musician, he was actually in Air Supply, if you remember that, you remember that band? The song, I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you, right? Right. Not bad, right? So, he was a member of Air Supply and then also in the backing band for the Bangles, right? And now later in life, he works still as a musician. He does session work, but he also works as a handyman and a kind of a carpenter contractor. And Cindi is just what we call out here in Los Angeles, a healer, right? She does body work and she does physical therapy. And, my wife got sick one night and we didn't know what to do. We didn't want to go to the ER. And we went over and knocked on Cindy's door and she came over and took care of her and literally cured her. She knew exactly what was going on and got her right as rain. Well, the fires in this area of Topanga burned right up to our neighborhood. And our fire department, our boots on the ground, which is called Cal Fire, California Fire. And this is a mix of this isn't the guys in the pumper trucks, right? These are the guys with the shovels and the pickaxes. And they basically created man-made fire breaks to save our neighborhood, except for Greg and Cindi. A portion of their property burned to the ground. And, it was a beautiful house that looked out over the canyon that they had a renter in there. It housed another family. And it was a way that they became, that they kept their financial stability. And, in the later years of their life, they're still working full time. And, all of her client base, Cindy's client base, 80% of it, they lived in the Palisades. So as that area is devastated and those people are out of their homes and still in need of her to come and do physical therapy, where do they even do it? They don't have a home because she would go in-house and, set up her table or her massage chair and work on these people. So it's just a double banger that Greg and Cindi have been hit. So we started a GoFundMe. I sent you the link, and it's a really small, it's a short link, but I'm asking if everybody could, at least take a look at the GoFundMe, read up on Greg and Cindi, and if they have a couple of bucks, anything, it's a modest GoFundMe, and we're about $7,000 away from reaching it, and that money is going to allow them to start the rebuild of this rental property, which will do two things. It will keep Greg and Cindi in their home by keeping them financially stable, and it'll house another family. Right now in California, there is nothing, this Southern California area, there is nothing you can rent. All of these families that have been devastated and displaced, they can't even stay in the area because there's no rent, there's no apartments available, there's no single family homes. So many, there were over 10,000 homes destroyed, and then another 3,000 structures from, Ralph's burned to the ground. It's like RANP, So all of this devastation, people don't know where to help. They all want to help. There are good people all over the country. We've all met them. We've all talked to them. And this is one that people can contribute to, just a couple dollars. Or if you don't have any disposable cash, that's cool. Maybe look at the GoFundMe and then share it to, some of your friends that might be able to, in your audience. I would be so grateful. And I would go so far as to guarantee an Eagles win on the Sunday after next if people would contribute. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and people are going to be like, God forbid, we lost. I want my money back. But
I saw the link the other day, and I tried to donate 41.33, but they
yeah,
wouldn't let me. So I had to round up. But hey, put some good juju out there. Donate $49.
yeah, or yeah. I mean,
59.
I honestly,
59,
people
I'm
would go
sorry.
5, 10, 15, $75, whatever. Like it's just I want to help these two so much. They are such wonderful human beings, and just to because again, everybody does want to help. Like there's Red Cross, like we're doing a blood drive. But people don't know where these GoFundMe's are for some of these families that have been devastated. So this is one that I'm just trying to get the word out on, because these are very kind and helpful and loving people. I mean, when we moved here, they came over day one, with a bottle of Chianti, and we're like, here, and not to drink it. They're like, here, this is a gift for you, and we're gonna do a gathering. They got all the neighbors together, and they had a potluck. I mean, like, that's such a, and quite frankly, that's a Philly thing, right? Like that's a neighborhood, Northeast Philadelphia, the burbs. Like that's the kind of experience I had in those summers and winters in Philly, like community, and you knew your neighbors. And I have that here in Topanga.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually I already put the GoFundMe link in our bio on Instagram.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
And for anybody who's listening, who doesn't know our Instagram, it's at Birds and Beers Pod. You can go check that out and donate. Hey, how about this? If you can't donate $59, like I just said, whoever your favorite Eagle is, donate their jersey number. AJ Brown 11, Devontae Smith $6, whatever you want.
Yeah. My sister, who born and raised in Philadelphia, but when my other brother Lal took a job at the University of British Columbia in dentistry, he was a professor of dentistry and had a private practice. So they had to move to Vancouver. So still American citizens for all these years, and then they live out there in Vancouver. And I was like, Lynn, you got to donate to Greg and Cindi, right? She's like, all right, I will. So she texts me back. She's like, I donated $50, which cost me 78 Canadian. It's like she had to let me know that it cost her above and beyond, but God love her. He threw a couple bucks at Greg and Cindi.
If one guy has his way, Canada might be part of the United States soon, so maybe
a
little bit cheaper for them then.
I'll be skiing at Whistler, calling it a great American city, I guess is what's coming, right? Oh my goodness.
What a shit show.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so anything else you want to talk about? I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but
no, man, let's get into it. What can we cover? Let's see. What can we cover?
Hey man, it's just on some little housekeeping things.
Hit me.
It's a good thing there's no Bryce Huff fans, because they donate $0.
Oh man, yeah. Don't yeah. Anybody out there, don't think you're gonna get cute and donate $0.
Well, he doesn't have any fans anyway, so
that's true.
I'm so grateful for you guys for doing this, and you see,
we're grateful you came on.
I got my. It's like everyone said, "Oh, you're wearing a McNabb jersey," and I go, "No, I'm not." The reason my name's on the back, because I'll never be traded. They'll never trade me.
Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, I'm glad. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, guys, this has been great. Always available to you, and I love what you're doing, and I love that you're letting me do this GoFundMe, plug. It's really
absolutely.
special. It's really kind of you. Super kind. Really grateful.
We always try to pay it forward, and we got to put more of that out into the world. We're always looking to help out different sort of charities or things like this, whatever it is. Always trying to look out for cool things to do. So
right on. Predictions. Let's end with some predictions. We didn't talk about the game yet.
Oh man,
go first.
Got quiet as a church.
I don't like making predictions.
You don't want to jinx it. I hear you.
My heart tells me we're gonna get the retribution. We technically stopped a three-peat last time, Super Bowl 52. Because if the Patriots had won that, they would have won 3 in a row, because they won the next year and they won the year before.
That's right.
So my heart tells me they're going to get retribution, and the score will be the exact same from 57, but the reverse 38-35 Eagles.
Yeah. Dave?
I don't know if my heart could handle that kind of game.
It was
That-
rough last time.
Going into the NFC Championship game, all the people on all the sports shows were predicting a close game. I'm like, no, and then the Eagles come out and drop 55 on their head. So
I know.
it was nice to be able to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Nice when you got
I,
that lead.
I unfortunately think it's going to be a close game too.
Yeah.
Probably my prediction will be somewhere in the ballpark of what Matt just said, 30-33, something like that.
I think it's a one-score game, and I think it'll be the team with the ball last. I think it's going to be that close.
Yeah.
You know,
But it should have been last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It should have been last time. Again, I try not like the whole finger pointing and the refs being, for Kansas City. I hear all about all that, but I don't think it's going to come down to that. I think it's literally going to be who can execute and who schemes better. But I think it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last. I think it's going to be one of those nail biters. So make sure you're taking your statins, your lorazepam, keep yourself well medicated and lots of, oil with the whatever beer we're doing. Keep yourself calm.
I don't do that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, guys, I mean, what else can I tell you? This has been a blast. I really appreciate it. And
Hey, anytime.
yeah, no, listen, anytime you need any kind of report from Cali, I'll tell you this. Here's what we'll do. This coming season, I know we have San Diego.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do a remote. We'll figure out how to get a little pre-tape remote going, and then you guys can use it.
Well, is there a tailgating scene out there? What's it like? We'll come out.
Oh, it's again, it's almost sad for these Los Angelinos, that I know and love. I'm an LA guy. Like, I love Los Angeles. It's where I work. It's where I raise my family. But when it comes to sports, when it comes to, it's Philly, man. Like the tailgating situation at SoFi, there were just as many Eagles fans tailgating as there were Rams fans. It's almost embarrassing. And it's going to be the same thing in San Diego. We're going to own that stadium. Or as we say in Philly, we're going to own that stadium.
You have a better Philly accent than I do, and you haven't lived here in 50-some years.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like the voice I do is the voice. That's literally one of my sisters. So, it's like a Philly girl. Oh, yeah. Chad, I noticed when you came over, you didn't offer me no Diet Coke.
Are you familiar with Aunt Mary Pat? Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. But I have to be very careful because when I really, right now it's more, I work as a writer director more than the acting anymore. But when I first started acting, I got cast a lot as cops. In Third Rock, I was a cop. But I had to be very careful that I didn't fall into that kind of blue collar, where it's like that and you're dropping this and you're opening your O's. Because he starts to narrow you in casting. So I had to be very careful in my Philly accent, which, I could sort of turn on and off. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So,
All right, guys.
all right. Well, hey, you have a second to hang around for like a little overtime?
Yeah, anything. I can listen. My wife went out to a dinner. It's just me and the dog. Where is the dog?
Get the dog in here.
Yeah. We got it. We got the paraphernalia.
Oh, there we go. Go Birds.
Got my magnet head right there. Got my little helmet up there. A couple of awards I won. Forget about that crap. Oh, get this.
Yeah.
So my other kid
Only
lives
that
in
stuff.
Brooklyn. My other kid lives in Brooklyn, and she's like, Dad, I'm sending you a calendar, a Flyers calendar from 1986.
Oh, that's cool.
And my kid goes, and the days match up because 1986 and 2025 are the same. And I go, wow, that's amazing. How she found it on eBay or whatever. The dates don't match. My kid's like, send me a picture of it. That's not. I did the calculations. Look at this thing, man. This thing is right out of the '86 Flyers. It's my kid
The
said.
Hextall in there.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool?
That's still pretty cool, though.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping it. Oh,
Yeah, my grandfather, unfortunately, he died in 2016, and the day of his funeral, he lived with my uncle for his last couple of years, and my uncle opened up his bedroom, and it was a free for all for my cousins and my brothers and me. It was just took all, whatever memorabilia we could find, and yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff out of there. But yeah,
Oh, awesome.
that's a cool. I feel like that's a relic that we would have found in his.
Yeah.
It's awesome though. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I got it in the other room. Maybe I'll run and get it. But I have a Eagles official NFL buckle from 1971. It's like a round,
Like a belt buckle.
belt buckle. It's so cool.
You gotta wear that.
One of my kids. Let him.
You gotta
fight
wear
it.
that. You gotta wear that on
I'm gonna wear it on game day. Yeah, yeah. Totally wearing it on game day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick funny story. So this last game, the Washington game, we went to the Britannia, and again, I love the Britannia people, but they got to total occupancy. Like they got to the point where they couldn't let anyone else in, and my daughter's best friend Emma Silver, who also works out here in the business, but when she's from Philly, and her dad and mom came out for the Rams tailgate, like they flew out the tailgate with us. I'm not even kidding. And to be with Emma and my daughter Hannah. So Emma gets there late, and the doorman does that, we're shut down, nobody can get in. So I come down, I'm like, come on, I've been saving a seat for her. And he's like, if you keep asking me, I'm gonna boot you. You're gonna get banned. I go to the back door, man, and I do the same thing. And I go, look, it starts raining too. I'm like, let her come in and I'll go out. Like, let the girl in. I don't want my daughter standing in the rain. It wasn't my daughter, it was her best friend. But I'm like, I don't want my daughter standing in the rain. So, like the Philly guy mentality, I'm already worked in the back door, man, right? So he goes for it. He lets her in. But then the two doormen text. So when I come around front, he boots all three of us. We get kicked out of the bar.
Oh, no.
And I got to tell you, my daughter was like, she was calling her friends. I got banned. I got kicked out of a bar. She was so excited. Kicked out of a bar. So we just went down to Venice to another, not a Philly bar, but they had all the game on every TV, and we had a blast, I just thought it was so funny at this age, I got kicked out of a bar for trying to work the two doormen against each other.
We have a story similar. My dad got us kicked out of a Phillies game in 2009, and he almost talked his way back in, and then the same sort of thing happened. The other bouncer saw us trying to sneak back in, and he wasn't happy. He almost called the police.
Yeah, I bounced at the Improv in the early '90s, because I was a stand-up comic for a while, and my way in was to work the door. And so a lot of guys did that. You figured a way to get into the club, so you kind of learn how to do the stand-up and be around it. And so I know what those guys were up against. It's just everybody wants to get in, everybody wants what they want and wants access, and you have to hold the fort because the fire department can show up, and it's a headache. So I didn't give the guy any grief, but I just thought it was hysterical that we got banned during a championship game.
That's funny.
Who's your favorite comic of all time?
My favorite comic of all time, Richard Pryor.
Oh, nice. My dad was a big fan too.
Yeah, and I'd say currently it's Chappelle.
Okay.
I think Dave Chappelle is a genius. Guy.
We were big fans of the Chappelle Show back in the day.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Great stuff.
Great stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think who else is really, really. And Bill Burr. I think Bill Burr is just he is the everyman comic. I mean, he is
got a
just
great bit on Philly too.
Yeah. Yes. He's in my feed a lot. I love that guy. Mark Maron's another one. I think he's so smart, and a really nice guy too. A lot of these guys are believe it or not, are really nice guys.
I got roasted by a local comedy club owner who for saying this, but both of my brothers, we have an older brother too. The three of us, we can hold entire conversations in Mitch Hedberg quotes.
Oh wow! My daughter loves Mitch Hedberg.
I could see that as being one of her influences.
Yeah, and then because all the guys that also I didn't even mention this, but all the guys that I watched, when my kids were like babies. All of the Philly bros, all the guys who were in the industry that are from Philly, we all hung together and watched the games together. Like Lawrence Kaplow, Larry Kaplow, he's a writer, Law and Order for he's executive producer at one point. And a comic that you guys, I'm sure know, Craig Shoemaker.
Oh yeah.
The Love Master. Craig's an old dear friend, good guy. Philly transplant, so we'd all get together usually either Craig's house or my house with our kids and the wives, and we'd watch the games together. And we had this thing where whenever the Eagles would score, we would all do push-ups. This is back when we could do push-ups. So, the game got up into the 30s. You had to do 30 every time they scored. You had to do the current score. So you'd have to redo all the push-ups, not just the last 7 or 3. But I think it would probably kill us today if we tried that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't end well for me either. It makes me feel like
Yeah. I'd be like 1, 2. Hope they don't go into overtime. 3.
All right. Well, anything else you want to throw out there?
What else do we got? Do you guys have more people coming on?
No.
Just,
I was gonna say nobody wants to come on this show, but that might actually make you feel some way. But
you guys, man, this has been a blast.
yeah, I mean, I could talk to you all day. I was really nervous about this. I wasn't sure I was gonna go, but yeah, I feel like I've known you forever.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember, because the other thing, because what I love talking about is the way it was in Philly, growing up, because I literally spent the entire summer and the entire winter. So in the winter, we lived in a place called Pine Run, right out 42, the village of Pine Run. It was between Philly and Cherry Hill.
Okay.
And there was a tar pit out in the back behind our house. And, it was literally without any embellishment. It was an our gang kind of situation where everybody in the neighborhood, one kid started building a go-kart. Everybody was building go-karts and racing them down the hills in the village of Pine Run. And we used to play when the rains would come and it would freeze. We used to play hockey on natural ice over this tar pit, 4-on-6. Like, it didn't even matter. A shopping cart was the goal, And then in the summers, we played with, Mylick street hockey gear. And one kid would have all the pads and he would be the goalie in like a cul-de-sac. And it would just be like 15 kids skating on him. Like, it was just madness, pandemonium. We had these 2 kids that lived in the one of the cul-de-sacs, and I'll change their names. I'll change their last name just in case someday they're listening. It was Joe and Craig Towers. So I changed one of the letters to make it Towers. And we would stand around and watch Craig do this weird thing with a Nerf football. Like, he would take the Nerf and he would do the whole game. Like, he'd do the crowd noises and he'd do the announcing, like, yeah, and Jaworski drops back. And then he'd throw the ball up and he would catch it in slow-mo and, evade tackles. And we would just sit around and watch him play football with himself. And this happened all the time. And everyone would just and nobody thought it was weird, but it was sort of weird. And he would just act out the entire game. He'd do like 5 minutes. And, he'd come down to some climactic score and he would dive over and, score the touchdown himself. There must have been something in the water. I don't know. I mean, it just was such a magic time.
Well, it's probably all because our parents were giving us alcohol to make us sleep at night.
So, yeah, I mean, just that kind of upbringing, that kind of outside play, with you'd leave in the morning, you'd try to sneak back to watch Gilligan's Island. Your father would kick you outside, and then you'd stay out till it got dark. If it wasn't a game of flashlight tag, you were just outside all day in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my kids don't know that. My kids went with walkie-talkies, like, I've got you, red one, come back. I didn't let them out of my sight in this town. But I didn't grow up that way.
There was a cemetery behind our grandparents' house we used to play football in. We'd go to my grandparents for Thanksgiving or whatever. We'd all play football games in the cemetery. People would be getting this is like an old school, like in Norristown. Like, there's like Civil War mausoleums, all kinds of old stuff there. Like, people would be getting checked into mausoleums and knocking. There was actually a rash of grave robberies there back in the early 90s, and people were getting.
What would they get? What would they're robbing for jewelry? Like, what is?
I guess I don't know, but yeah, people would be getting tripping over open graves. It was wild.
You go up for one of those long balls and you land in a grave. Not good. Not good.
It's pretty dark now that I said it out loud.
Yeah, it sounds a little dark.
The memory's just been bouncing around in my head for 30 years, and when I say that out loud, it's kind of fucked up. But whoops. That's the kind of shit you get on this episode, on this podcast.
So, other than me, who's the most famous person you've had? I'm kidding. That was a joke. But
my dad.
My dad. Perfect answer. My dad. He's a legend.
In his own mind, yeah.
That's great.
We're trying to get our mom to come on, but she won't do it.
Why not? Call her right now. Call her. I'll get her on.
She's probably been in bed for 3 hours at this point.
Her defenses are low. It's the perfect time to make.
I can hear her now. Matthew, I have to get up in 6 hours. Why are you calling me?
You know what you do is you say, Mom, bring on the, you don't even have to go to it. You go, Mom, we're doing a family episode. I want you to bring out our baby books and just go through them. And she'll be like, hook, you'll get her. And then, maybe the baby book doesn't come out to the last 2 minutes and you guys just, suck it up, go through it. That's how you get Mom. You go to
we have discussed like clandestine operations to trick her into doing it, but
yeah.
Hey, Mom, help us test out these new mics or whatever.
Yeah. Go for the heartstrings. Trust me.
Yeah. All right, we'll do that.
God, I'm looking at my image here. I'm all pink. I look like I'm some kind of, I got like I've been drinking all day and I haven't. I'm in Sobuary.
Sobuary.
Yeah, we do. We take January off, both for God and country and our liver. And it's been pretty amazing. Like to go through these fires sober was just like
oh man. I bet.
Yeah.
I told myself I was gonna do dry January.
That's what we do, dry January.
Yeah, that lasted all of like 6 hours. And then the Eagles being in the playoffs, like I can't do dry January and then go into the Super Bowl on February 9th, not having a tolerance. Like, come on, man.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking.
Didn't work out. Maybe
February 1st. I gotta tell you, I'm looking forward to February 1st.
It was very aspirational on my part, but just like all my other dreams, they ended in disaster.
Now, Dave, when you flew out, you're pilot. What's your
I fly for a construction company out here.
Oh wow.
So we're flying the owners today. They do a car show in Pomona every year.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, the 70. This one's the 75th annual Grand Roadster show, or something like that.
Righteous. Yeah, Pomona's got a lot of that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, so that's why.
Boat show, car show.
Yep. Yeah, so we're here for the car show this weekend.
As they say in the industry, what equipment did you fly in on?
So we fly it's a Pilatus PC-24. It's Swiss engineered, 8-seat little private airplane.
And when did you you became a pilot? Like, were you in the service and then transitioned into the private?
No, that was something I always wanted to do. It took me forever to do it, but I crossed the finish line recently, and then just kind of happened upon this job. So
he's being modest. It's been 15 years in the making. He's been working at this, and
that's amazing. Honestly, that's really cool.
This dude's fucking awesome.
That's great.
And for this particular job, it was literally, for me, right place, right time with a little bit of networking. And
that's what it always is. That's what it always is. When I, out here as when I decided to become an actor, the first thing I went for was acting, like every other schmoob out here, right? So, but you're trying to get your SAG card, your Screen Actors Guild card, because it's one of those Taft-Hartley situations where you can't work on a union job until you're in the union, and you can't be in the union until you've worked. So like, what, chicken or the egg? How do you crack that? So I did everything. Like I was a stroller at Universal Studios because I could open join AGMA, the guild of, you wear like the Frankenstein mask and you stand there by the trams, to the kids. Like I did that. I joined AFTRA at that time when they were a separate union. And you're doing everything you can to be in the right place at the right time. And I finally got cast in something. And 2 days before the shoot, they go, hey, we looked up in the Screen Actors Guild roles and we can't find you. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not in Screen Actors Guild. And they're like, oh. And the director really wanted me. It was one, I had done a lot of work and a lot of studying and a lot of auditioning. I finally got cast in something. And they go, well, we'll call you back. And they call me back a day before the shoot. And they're like, okay, you're going to do the job, but you're going to work. I mean, this was like totally illegal as far as the union term, but we're going to have this other guy get the check because he's a SAG member, and then he'll cut you a check from the check. And I was like, I don't care. I just want to work. I just want the job. I want the tape, right? So I can have something I can show somebody, because work begats work, right? So then that was 2 days before. And then the day before the shoot, they go, yeah, we chickened out. We're just going to hire you in Taft-Hartley, which is the Taft-Hartley Act of 1933, that no union can be a closed union. But it was just being in, it was all those cuts at the ball, right? All those times I auditioned for just crap stuff. And then finally being at the right place at the right time and getting that first job that made me a legal and a union actor. And it made me the man I am today.
It's awesome.
This mess right here. and Matt, what is it you do? What's your when you're not podcasting?
I used to work for, actually the two of us, Dave was in EMS before he was a pilot. And we worked I worked in psych for almost 20 years.
Really?
Yeah. And then a little burnout got me, and I had a friend who worked for the government. So I work for the county courts now. When Bill Cosby was on trial, that's the building I was in every day. That was quite a shit show.
You want a Bill Cosby story?
Oh, I don't not want one.
You ask me what my favorite comic is. My first comic was Cosby. The album Why Is There Air? I know that album to this day, forward and backwards. I can do every bit from it from memory. With most of the comics I like just studied as a child for some strange reason. I guess I was destined to go into the comedy thing. But as an actor, you have to have jobs. You're a waiter. I did process serving, sold shoes. I've done, one of the reasons I was good in commercials is I'd done every job. So like you have to make pizzas. I made pizzas. I know how to do it. I worked at a pizza restaurant. One of my jobs was as a limo driver, and I used to do the Tonight Show account. So I worked for a company that had the Tonight Show account. And what that means is when a celebrity would fly into LA to appear on the Tonight Show, they would send a limo, sometimes with this guy.
That's awesome.
And we would go to the airport and pick them up, or sometimes they would fly into the Santa Monica airport. Well, I get a call that I'm picking up none other than Bill Cosby. Now, I'm probably 20 years old at this point, driving limo. And I go to the Santa Monica airport, and he flies in, David, on his, the name of his plane, his private jet. What it had
I do
written on the
not.
side?
I actually.
Wife's name, Camille. He
Okay.
flies in. I don't know if it was like a G5, but it was big. It was like a bigger, probably bigger, a little bigger than a G5, if I know that term, right? It was whatever the G's before the 5. It was like big. And I pick him up at the Santa Monica airport. They roll up the stairs. He comes down the stairs, and he's carrying an igloo, an igloo cooler. And I meet him at the stairs, and I just take the igloo cooler from him because that's the only luggage he has. I load him into the back of the car. I put the igloo in the trunk. I get in the front, roll down the privacy screen to do the introduction, all per the company policy. Mr. Cosby, my name's Chad. If there's anything you need on this journey tonight, you have but to ask, and I'll make sure it happens. He says, Chad, do you know the Pinks? And Pinks is a infamous, and it's quite frankly world famous hot dog stand on La Brea Avenue out here. And it's, it literally looks like a hot dog. And you go up, and there's a line there till 2 a.m, and it's these, footlongs that stick out over the bun, and everybody wants Pinks hot dogs. Cosby was such a Pinks fanatic. He said, I'm going to give you some money. I want you to take the igloo to the Pinks and fill it with, and then he started, naming off from, memory, the chili cheese, burr, burr, burr. He had all these different ones he wanted. So I take him to the Tonight Show. He's there, it's a couple hours. I go to Pinks with the cooler. He gives me cash. I fill it with everything he said. I pick him back up at the Tonight Show after he's done, his set, his appearance. I take him back to the plane. I, get out, I open the door. I got the cooler. I give it to him. He's like, thank you. He gives me $200 tip right on the spot, cash, 2 $100 bills. And he walks up the stairs onto Camille with the igloo filled with Pink's hot dogs. That's my Bill Cosby story.
I was going to say, I hope you didn't drink anything. It was in that cooler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He went from being one of my idols. The Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost of comedy and back in the day was Bill Cosby, who worked clean. George Carlin, who was the heady guy, right? And then, of course, Richard Pryor, who did everything in between. And it was a real, it was a real tragedy that when the truth came out about Cosby.
Yeah.
And it kind of crushed, I mean, the terrible things he did, and it kind of crushed a little bit those of us in the comedy community that really looked up to him as a comedian and as an actor. I grew up on that guy, and I felt totally betrayed by what he did. So I'm not buying him any more hot dogs. That's it. That's my Cosby.
Oh man, that was. You should have seen, like, on a normal day at the courthouse, there is nothing going on except for your local crazies wandering around yelling at you. But
Yeah.
that day, everybody, there was literally people in the crowd like you were at Woodstock throwing beach balls around, and it was wild. It was ridiculous. But yeah, to your point though, we grew up. At least I did. I grew up on the Junkyard Gang and Fat Albert and all that stuff. The Cosby Show. And it was quite a shock. It was shocking when
Yeah.
all that came down.
Yeah. I mean, when somebody crosses the line like that, they got to go. They got to go.
Yeah.
You got to let go of how much you idolized them, or how even if they're an artist, it's like, sorry, you got to go.
It was so wild too, because when he's on trial, Felicia Rashad was there, and Malcolm Jamal Warner was there. All these people there supporting him. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time,
Well, look, it's like, I mean, hopefully it doesn't turn into a theme, but it's the whole Michael Jackson thing. Like, people still fall to their knees when his music comes on, and I'm just like, it's hard for me to separate. It's hard for me personally, just my opinion only. Nobody else has to follow this, obviously. It's hard for me to separate the dastardly deeds and the art. It taints it, because I personally can't, maybe it's my ADHD or hyperactivity as a child. I can't separate it, because I'm listening to the music and all I'm thinking about is something evil that happened. Or I'm listening to those old comedy bits and I'm like, I just can't listen to them anymore.
that's another one. First, I was born in '82, so my mom was a big Motown fan. So the first music I ever remember was Thriller.
Oh yeah.
My mom played it nonstop on vinyl back in the day, and it sucks to think about all the stuff that happened after. But
I think you should bring this up during the mom episode. Right after the baby pictures, Mom.
yeah,
We have to talk about something that scarred me. Late Thriller.
Well, that went to a dark place.
I remember I was talking with Matt. We were texting back and forth, and I'm like, so like, doing this GoFundMe for Greg and Cindi Helfman. He's like, oh no, we've covered domestic violence. I'm like, wait a minute, what am I getting into here? You guys have covered some stuff.
We started this thing, like I said, just to talk about the Eagles and the craziness that is the Philly area.
Yeah.
But then remember last season how it ended, and in the off season we kind of wanted to do something different because we just didn't want to talk about the Eagles anymore. So we had, for years, domestic violence, for example, is an issue that's very close to my heart, and we grew up experiencing some of it. So I'm involved in the local organization here called Laurel House that since 1980 they've been a shelter and advocacy organization for victims and survivors. So we did an episode on that, and then we got to know a guy whose daughter unfortunately was murdered. She was a St. Joe's student back in 2005, and he has been dedicated his life essentially to education and prevention. So we did an episode on that. We did a whole series on mental health, our experiences with it ourselves, working in the field. So yeah, we try to do a bunch of different things. We try to branch out. So yeah, so
Great. I think that's awesome.
But we're still the same crazy assholes, regardless. So don't act like you have to be on your best behavior or anything.
Oh God, man, what's my favorite song these days? And I was singing it in the bar, and then I eventually got everybody singing it. No one likes us. We don't care. We're from Philly. We're from Philly. No one likes us. We don't care. I had the whole bar singing it. Every time they scored, I broke into it, man. We had so much fun.
See, I knew we'd get along.
Yeah. All right, some shout outs. I want to shout out to Mike Swerdloff, my cousin, first kid who ever turned me on to Bruce Springsteen. Took me in his bedroom. I was visiting, and he's like, "You got to hear this guy. He's the boss." I'm like, "The boss of what?" Played me my first Springsteen live, Asbury Park. My uncle, my brother-in-law, we call him Uncle Eddie Haas, who's former owner of Mental Health Consultants. He worked in
No way.
Psy for many, many years. And shout out to my nephew MJ Haas and all my Philly family. I just wish I was going down to shore to watch the birds in the motherland. Yeah.
Well, next time you're out here, hit us up. We'll catch a Phillies game or something.
100%. I really feel like we're going to come back out next season. We're going to make the pilgrimage. I'm going to take back my father's tickets for one game, wrestle him for my brother-in-law.
Yeah,
Me and Hannah will go, and
we'll come out. I actually was talking to Dave before you got on the call, and it hit me earlier today that I came home from California 18 years ago this month, and I haven't been back since.
Wow.
Yeah. So I need to come back out there because I had such a great time.
Come out, you stay with us. I got an ADU. We'll pop you in there.
Don't let your mouth
Hey,
write checks that you can't cash.
it's
Chad.
official. It went out on the internet, so it must be true.
Oh, I had stories from California that I hope and pray my mother never hears.
Oh yeah.
If she never comes on, those will not be told. But yeah, I had a great time. So all I have to say, when the Eagles are out there for the Chargers game next year, we should come out and we'll do a tailgate. We'll show these LA fools how it's done.
I'm telling you, man, come out. You can't see it because it's dark, but I got a Sprinter van, a 170 extended. That's what we tailgate in. It's all custom inside. It's like a van life thing. You know, we take it to Burning Man. I'm one of those crazy, hippie screwballs, right? So at my age, I'm going to Burning Man. My kids think I'm nuts. You're going to die out there. I'm not going to die. I might see some naked people that no one should see naked, but I'll be fine, right? So we go in the Sprinter van. We tailgate. You'll ride with us. You'll go down to San Diego with us. It's gonna be a blast.
That sounds terrible. I'm in.
Best terrible day you'll ever have. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll let you go. We've wasted enough of your time already.
This was great. I had so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for reaching out.
Anytime. Hey,
great.
Anytime you want to come on, shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Tell stories. Talk about the birds.
Well, you got a friend for life. You got a Cali guy, Birds fan. If you ever need someone to do a live remote, I'm standing on the scene of the latest. You guys let me know, and I'll get you some video.
We'll do one at halftime for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Thanks so much.